was one major decision I made that was last 2 years that gave us over 100K.
USD.
Yes, as a young person starting up, one well with water is better than many dry holes. People go to university, why? I mean, why would you pay such amount of money to study a course? I'd always had that seed of entrepreneurship in me. I could easily spot opportunities where people were not seeing opportunities. Knowledge puts you on a pedestal. It puts you way ahead of your peers, and it gives you an opportunity to lead. And if you can lead in any industry, primarily, people trust you, people give you more responsibility, and with more responsibility comes more money. You can never be poor. People helped me too at different points in my life. Every single time someone helped me, I told myself the reason this person is helping me is because they don't want me to come back. So I'm going to do everything possible to make sure I am never in such situation again. I try as much as I can to live a very simple life, and in most cases, I don't know what to do with the money. A lot of the things I did, kudos to my mom. My mom actually saw those things and pointed me towards them.
They actually have sense.
Yeah, I do, when I want to.
Oh. Hello everybody, and once again, welcome to another wonderful episode of the Entrepreneurs Connect show. As always, everything we do here is centered around African entrepreneurs. We interview African entrepreneurs across board, different sectors and industries to learn about their journeys into entrepreneurship, their successes, their failures, and everything in between. And today's episode, again, will be nothing short of exciting because I have somebody special in our midst today. This is somebody I know personally and I've been meeting very well for the last, it's been three years now, right? 2021, 2024. Yep. This is 3 years. We don't know so much how. Well, welcome on board. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
After you begged me to be on this show, I said, it will not be good that I know somebody that's an entrepreneur like you. It's not like you're not doing bad, actually. So I said, let me put you on let me give you a platform
to shine
so that people can know you.
Thank you, sir.
You understand? So welcome to the show.
No, actually, it's you I'm welcoming. You're in my house.
You are welcoming me.
Yes, you're in my house.
That's to show everybody the extent that you went. You begged me. Beg you, if nowhere you not follow me up, you email me, you text me up, you say, don't worry, I don't need to come to your city. Just come to my house, I've set everything up for you.
Right.
And I'm here with you now.
Yes, that's
so welcome to the show. Let's meet you. His name is Jago Emmanuel, by the way, in case he did not introduce himself.
Yep.
So just tell them who you are, they don't know you.
My name is Jago Emmanuel. I work as a marketing consultant and primarily in the finance space as an investment portfolio manager and advisor.
Great. See, as investment portfolio manager and advisor. Where does the story start? What was growing up like for you?
Growing up in what context, really? In terms of entrepreneurship.
How was your family like?
Well, I grew up in an interesting environment. Probably you must have heard Wizkid sing a song, and then he mentioned the film for Shogunle. Shogunle was where I grew up in. And I grew up in the midst of a whole lot of crazy things, vices, underdevelopment, gambling, and a couple of things, There was so much poverty around us. My family was an average family, but there was so much lack around us that the only hope that people had to become really successful were either education or gambling. So we had a lot of gambling platforms around us. There was a betting shop, there was this pool shop, and around gaming center and all of that. And that was the environment I grew up in. But my parents, being religious, did everything possible to make sure we get quality education, quality exposure, and we never really lacked anything that we actually needed to move from point A to point B, whatever those points were at any point in our lives. And I'm grateful for that, really.
Beautiful. So I've interviewed entrepreneurs across the board and all that. I've studied a lot of entrepreneurs. And one thing I've found is that a lot of successful business people, millionaires, billionaires, and all of that, their career, most of the time, is largely divorced from what they studied in school. I don't think that's the case for you. So what do you study in school and what do you do right now?
All right, I studied marine engineering.
Study what?
Marine engineering. In fact, marine engineering is the reason I came to Rivers State in the first place. I'd never been out of Lagos. I think the first time I stepped out of Lagos was to go at my JAMB, and that was to come to Rivers State University. So I studied marine engineering, and currently I work as a growth manager. So two different worlds. But then I'd always known, not like I'd always known, I'd always had that seed of entrepreneurship in me, marketing. Right from primary school, I could easily spot opportunities where people were not seeing opportunities. For example, in primary school, one day I was coming back from school, and then I noticed there was this particular drink. They call it Eve. And I bought it and tried to drink it. So I poured it into a cup, poured water in it, and it was too concentrated. I kept on adding water until it filled a jug, and I was like, okay, this is cool. They don't sell this kind of thing in my area, but they sell it in school where I was schooling, GRE where I was schooling. They don't sell it in my area, and there are like 3 schools around me. So I was like, okay, I had some money saved up with my mom. I took the money, went and bought some nylons and all of that, and I poured fractions of it inside, poured it into the fridge, and that was it. People started buying. I put it at the junction. Luckily, our house was situated in the junction. Put it at the junction, students liked it, and that was how I started the business.
That was your first business venture?
That was the first.
I remember how much it made you?
It made me a lot of money because I became like the bank for my siblings. They used to borrow money from me. So I was making good money, but it wasn't so much because, of course, the profit margin was not that high.
When did you stop and why?
I stopped when I met a competition. The competition was the woman next to us. She used to sell drinks too. And later I was like, okay, let me just leave it for her, because it was more like we were trying to compete. And at one point she called me and she started reminding me of the fact that, hey, you know I was doing this thing before you did it and all of that. So it was obvious that she saw me as a competition, and my siblings were like, leave it. So I moved. So after that, got into secondary school. I noticed that, teenagers loved phones.
So you're in primary school then?
Yes.
How old are you back then?
I can't really recall.
Crazy.
Say maybe 8, 9 or so. Then I moved to secondary school. The most prominent thing young teenagers really loved as at then phones. Because if you had a phone, it was luxury. That was like one of the first major gifts you would ever receive as a teenager. And I noticed that young boys, because I went to a public secondary school where you could find grown-ups in secondary classes, right? And I noticed that, this was one thing people really loved, phones. Java phones, Symbian phones. And I knew how to save money a lot. So I would save money, buy a Java phone at a cheaper rate, change the casing, go on Waptrick or Cefan, download new things, new games, it looks new, and sell it at a higher price. So that was primarily what I was doing when I was in secondary school.
You say real football the inside.
Yeah, real football. So real football, and then the likes like that, Mission Impossible. And
exactly.
all of those.
Kombat.
Yes. So that was like the first introduction I had to gaming. And later I noticed that, outside phones, people loved games too, because I also loved games.
Oh.
Yes.
How come you love games so much and I still beat you back?
I mean, I had to resign, man. I was becoming addicted.
That's why I beat you very well right now.
Of course, I'm still allowing you. Anyways. When I'm ready.
When will you stop allowing me, please?
Soon. So, secondary school, also, I did gaming. I noticed that, people wanted to buy games. Or those who had games didn't know how to repair it. And I had an history of having games and then having to repair it to the point where I knew how to repair my game myself. And I did that gaming thing in secondary school.
I feel like every young Nigerian boy has had the experience with game. Did you go to game halls?
Of course. At some point, I used to gamble. Loser pay.
So, loser pays, exactly. So, on this fateful day, I was in JS2 then. And I'm doing loser pay. Our school closes by 1 p.m. I didn't lose. I'm doing loser pay from 1 p.m. to like 6. And then I'm like, time don't go. So I'm trying to just run out, step out from the game hall. So I'll start going home. So I just came out of the game hall. Guess who is coming
Your mother.
My father.
Father. Okay. Oh, well. That can beat it.
My father entered the place and he said, any day this boy come to this place again. And then he took me, that's an experience I can't forget in life. Because after he took me, my friend found a way to escape. After he took me home, after punishing me, they made me fill an 80 leaves book. Guess what I was writing? Handwritten. I will never be stupid and foolish again. I filled it up, guy.
Oh man, that was a typical punishment when we were in primary school. Like, when you misbehave like this, I'll never do it again. I'll never. But for me, my parents, my dad always knew that I was like a gamer, but he never really came for me. I think at some point when I noticed that it was really becoming a problem, because I was always getting into trouble with games and all that, I just decided to quit. And that was it. I stopped going to gaming centers and I stopped anything that had to do with video games.
So what did you do next?
After that, I was in SS2. SS2, I became the genotype president in my school. So we had Jet Club, Genotype Club.
Genotype?
Yes, okay. Jet Club, Genotype Club. That's for science students.
Okay.
So after I became the genotype president, there was this huge responsibility for me to start teaching, because we used to have every Tuesday club days, and at those points you have to teach as a leader and all that. So I started teaching. That was even where I started experiencing my teaching ability. My teaching ability. So I would teach and students would tell me, oh, the way you explained it, I understood it better compared to when our teachers were teaching and all of that. And I did that, and then I was attending one tutorial also. So one day I went to meet the manager of the tutorial and I was like, I want to start teaching. I think I can teach. And he was like, what's your best subject? I said, biology. He said, what's your best topic? I told him. He said, go home, go and prepare your best topic of your best subject and come back tomorrow. And guess what? This guy put me in front of post-UTM students. He didn't even show up. He just told them someone is coming to teach you. And imagine me now and imagine me in SS2. Slim, lanky, came an SS2, SS3 guy standing in front of post-UTM students. And I was really anxious actually at first, but then I knew how much I'd prepared and how much I knew at that point in time. And I asked them some simple questions, SI units, physics and all that, and they couldn't answer. I was like, oh, I'll finish this, guys. So that was it. And I took them right through like 2 consistent hours of learning, of teaching and all of that, showing them things that they could find in their textbooks and things they couldn't find in their textbooks. And over time, what happened was that later someone came from, I think, Futa, the guy with the grade of Futa, came in to want to teach biology, and we were asked to split the course content. I could take it from one point, he would take it from one point. And the students didn't like him. They told the manager that they want me to actually continue. And that was it. I took them physics, I took them biology, and prepared them for post-UTM.
At SS2?
Yes, and most of them going to university.
They actually have sense.
Yeah, I do, when I want to.
Oh. Do you think learning how to sell is important?
I mean, it's an everyday thing. Every single day, you have to sell to someone. Every single day. Because the whole thing that makes up selling is negotiating and asking someone to give you something in exchange for something. And that's primarily what we do every single day. When you're trying to woo a girl or when you're trying to get someone to bring something for
this
you.
This guy's woo means chaik, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a Greek word for chaik.
It's a Greek word. So when you're trying to get something from anyone or when you're trying to get someone to do something, the more knowledgeable about sales you are, the more easier it is for you to get that person or for you to persuade them to do your bidding. And even if they are going to get something in return, because in sales, no one must lose. everyone must win primarily. So even if they are going to do your bidding, right, it's going to be at a price or at a cost that is fair and everyone is actually happy. So it's really, really important that we must learn how to sell, and we have to teach our kids, our offsprings too, as early as possible, so they know how to find their way in the world.
So in life generally, how has learning how to sell helped you as a person?
In life generally, the more you learn, the more you invest in yourself, the more I believe you should be able to renegotiate how much you get for the kind of value that you now have, or your newfound value. And if selling is also your ability to be able to communicate your newfound value and how the other person who you are asking to pay you for that newfound value is able to see it with your own eyes. And primarily for me, at different point in time, I've invested a lot into learning, and it always means that at different point in time, I have to keep renegotiating my price and my value in the market. So selling primarily helps me to do that in such a way that there's less friction, or friction is taken out of the way, and it just makes it seamless, and no one can really argue against whatever it is I'm proposing.
So I see you as someone that's very big on personal development and learning and all of that. So what role has personal development, courses, trainings, what role have those things played in your growth?
I was speaking with someone this morning, and I told them that I only need to make at most 2 great decisions in a year, and I can make all the money I need for that year or more. And how do you make great decisions? You need to be able to delve into a level of thinking or have a level of exposure. And how do you have that level of exposure? You need to be a fan of quality. Because quality information...
You need to be a fan of quality.
Yeah, quality information will help you with quality thinking. And if you think at a higher level, you make quality decisions and you make more money. So what someone is going to do and make 2x, because of the weight of quality that you have, you come in and you do it and you make 20x. So quality also, and personal development also informs strategy, because there are 3 things that really equals to results: ideas, actions, and strategy. In most cases, when you find ambitious people, it's not the idea. The idea is always unique. They want to make more money. They want to do more with their lives. And secondly, it's not the actions. They are probably actionable. They are agile. They are ambitious. It's usually the strategy. In most cases, 90% of the time, it's usually strategy. And the strategy will not improve if you yourself are not improving yourself.
So you don't think buying courses is a scam?
I mean, people go to university, why? To study a course. I mean, why would you pay such amount of money to study a course only for you to come out and say buying a course is a scam? So
you think that you can say an ad on Facebook and then just somebody says, I'm selling a training. Don't you think the person is scamming you?
Now, there are 2 ways to this. There are people who don't know so much about what they are talking about. And they are primarily doing it for the money, because someone told them that if you could sell your knowledge, you would make money. Now, that's you not being too far from a scam. You are not necessarily a scam because
but you're in the WhatsApp group.
Yes, you're not necessarily
you live
a scam
in the same neighborhood.
because the motive is not to steal. Yes, the motive is not necessarily to steal, but you are not just being honest, right? That you don't know this thing so much to be able to teach it. But there are people that when they share stuff with you, you could see the end point of where you want to be from their presentation. They can show you vividly how life is going to be if you do what they're asking you to do. And if you find those people and they are telling you, I can move you from point A to point B if you pay for this fee and then you can compress time with that fee, then why not? I'll pay for it.
The key thing is to compress time. So you actually still believe that knowledge is a way to compress time, basically.
Exactly.
Can you speak to that for a bit?
When it comes to knowledge puts you way ahead of a lot of people, and it gives you access, because right now we are in a knowledge-based economy.
Yeah.
And what you know is actually going to really get you far. What you know, you know. But then, even when you meet someone, what would make them want to listen to you? It's primarily because of what you know. I was watching an investor's interview some days ago, and they were talking about one person was talking about I invested in Paystack, and they talked about how the founder of Paystack, Shola, reached out to him, and even he went. While Shola was making the presentation and talking about the solutions, the problem and everything, he said even he, who has been in the industry as an investor for years, there were several things Shola was revealing to him that he didn't even know. That immediately after that call, he knew he was going to invest in Paystack.
Yeah.
And that was it. It didn't take him up to 3 days. He gave them a check. So that is the importance of knowledge. Knowledge puts you on a pedestal. It puts you way ahead of your peers, and it gives you an opportunity to lead. And if you can lead in any industry, primarily, people trust you, people give you more responsibility, and with more responsibility comes more money. You can never be poor.
You're giving like Wasabi vibe now. That GNCD.
GNCC. Oh God, I'm a member.
Info. So, what was that mean, by the way? Is it over?
It's information that you use to fly.
Yeah, exactly. Information makes you to fly. Without information, you'll just be running around in circles.
Exactly.
When you have information, you fly.
Exactly. That's the whole idea.
True. How old were you when you made your first million?
I made my first million not too long ago, say 3 years ago. And
do you mean that you have been poor all the while, parading yourself up and down? Like,
do you
mean at a go or cumulatively? So cumulatively, you probably have made more.
At a go, a go.
Cool.
And it was a service I did for an oil servicing firm. I wasn't even the one who did the project. I was just the one who knew what ought to be done. So I was that knowledgeable, and that's where the importance of knowledge comes in. Yeah. I knew what ought to be done, but I didn't know how to do it. So I made a presentation about the problem and what ought to be done, and then they gave me the job. I gave it to the person who were to do it, told him what to do, and we did the project, and we made good money. And prior to that time, I've been making like some small bucks all over, and then that's it. So
right now, what's the most amount you made in a single year? What's you on the spot?
Well, I don't talk about figures.
I'm putting it aside, they'll come and beat me.
I don't talk about figures, primarily.
But you pay school fees. You pay school fees now.
Of course.
Sir, please, this is my final year. My father said I cannot afford the money again.
Man, it's crazy, actually. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm always grateful anyways when I receive such messages.
True. I mean, I try to help the people I can't help. Yeah. But some people in the Gen Z language, they are giving entitlements. Somebody sent me an inbox some weeks ago. They said, Don, I need your financial assistance. I need to buy this training. Everything is 200,000.
I think you posted that in the...
Yes, now. It's 200,000. Thank you very much. Put account details. I say,
they've taught him now. When you meet people you want to connect with, go straight to the point. No need for introduction.
I told him carry gun. I didn't was carry gun.
Oh my God. So that's it. You always have that, because most of the times when I see things like that, I always try to help, because it reminds me of how I used to be and where I used to be also. And people helped me too at different points in my life. But then what I made sure was that every single time someone helped me, I told myself the reason this person is helping me is because they don't want me to come back. So I'm going to do everything I can, everything possible to make sure I am never in such situation again. And I think I've been able to do that successfully.
Beautiful. So, what would you say has been the most important business decision you have made in your life?
Investing, leveraging on other people's expertise.
Tell me about it.
Like I said, I try as much as I can to live a very simple life. I learned that from my mom. I don't stretch for something that is way beyond.
You're a man of modest income.
Exactly. not modest income. I'm a man of modest living.
Nah, the name of what?
So I try to live a very simple life, and because of that, it avails me an opportunity to save a lot. And in most cases, I don't know what to do with the money. As at then, I wouldn't know what to do with the money. I'll just blow it. And let me tell you how I even got into this investing thing and all.
Yeah.
When I was a child, growing up, my mom would always say it. A lot of the things I did, kudos to my mom. My mom actually saw those things and pointed me towards them. And she would always say, this boy, you know how to save a lot. But my problem with you is that you don't know how to spend money. You always you just take the money.
Save.
Yes, and just take the money and blow it. That was my life primarily. So I knew that was a weakness that I needed to work on, because I knew I was going to make money over time. I knew. So when I started making money, I knew to curb excessive spending. I knew the importance of not having a lifestyle inflation, not trying to be who I'm not or project that perception and all. And that made it possible for me to save. And by saving, it was now easy for me to start taking hold of opportunities. So people would come to me and they'd be like, oh, I'm trying to do these things because those are their primary field. It's not my primary field, but I'm interested in it. So I'll make money from my own primary field, and then people will come to me and I'll be like, okay, what do you really need? Oh, we need small capital and all that. There was one major decision I made that was last 2 years that gave us over 100K.
USD.
Yes, over 100K within the stretch of, say, 5 months. And it was primarily me just saying, I am willing to do this.
Yeah.
In exchange for this percentage. And that was what happened. What happened was that we scaled, we put in a whole lot of effort, we scaled, and we were able to pull in that number. And of course, like I said, because of my modest living and all of that, I was still able to retain a large portion of that money and then to invest in other things. So those things became like an aggregator for me. So when my direct income or for my primary field of endeavor is not so much, I am sure that money is coming from like different ports because I've been able to leverage on them.
So what would you say is the pathway for somebody maybe that is just starting out in business, have a skill, maybe you're doing the gig economy, getting jobs on Upwork, Fiverr and all of that, freelancing, making some money for yourself. What would you say is the path to wealth and financial freedom? So to break it down, basically, what would be like a step-by-step guide for somebody who is just starting out to grow and make a lot of money?
One of the major things I usually tell people is this: as a young person starting up, one well with water is better than many dry holes.
Let's say it again.
One well with water is better than many dry holes. And what does this mean? You need to dig your first well. You need to dig your first well because starting out, you are trying to survive. And it's really, really important that you survive. It's really important that you don't die in the process of trying to achieve your dreams. It's really important that you don't go hungry.
Yeah.
It's really important that you have a place to lay your head. It's really important you have food to eat. It's really important you have money to invest in resources. So you have to dig your first well. And how do you do that? Focus on one thing first. And do everything possible to move from one. So let's say you start off by earning or you start off by interning and you were getting a stipend, do everything possible to learn as much as you can, and then probably translate, get a job that can now pay you for what you've learned during your internship or during the time you were learning the skill. And then when you've moved, the next thing you want to do is you want to start scaling by investing rigorously in yourself. You have to do everything possible. One of the cheapest ways to really do that is to get books. You can't meet all your role models, but you've probably seen their interviews, you've seen some of the things that they've done. You want to get as much access to those things. You have to consume a whole lot, but don't lose yourself, because you need to maintain your own originality for your own people to find you. So you have to scale that skill and then move from 1 to 10x. And then next, you now have to start looking for other things that you can leverage on.
Yeah.
So this process can take between, say, 1 to 5 years or 6 years, depending on how bad you want it. So first, dig your first well by learning a skill, learning something that you can exchange for money. If you cannot afford to, sometimes it means you have to intern for almost nothing, right? And then secondly, when you know that thing, scale, because the pyramid is always bigger at the bottom.
Yeah.
At the bottom, that's where you find the crowd. So what you know, everybody else knows it. There's lesser competition at the top. And the top are where the mavericks are, the guys who put in extra hours of work to become smarter. And then when you become more smarter, now people know you to be smarter. People know you that, okay, this person has way more perspective than most people, and they are willing to pay you more. And with that money that you're making, you now have to start looking for your secondary place of interest, because most times you start off being interested in many things, but sometimes you have to abandon some of them and make money first. Then now you have more liquidity. Now you have more liquidity to now start.
I have like 5 registered businesses.
Yeah. So it's the same with me too. So you have to start looking for, now you have more liquidity, and you can now look for people who have taken those things as their own primary thing and partner with them. So that's it.
Do you think delayed gratification is important?
I mean, the thing is this: when it comes to how wealth is being built, it's like a normal stock exchange chart or a normal stock market chart, for example. So if you zoom in, you will see that there are green and red candles. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down, sometimes up. But then as you keep zooming out, mostly if the stock of that company has grown over like the last 10 years, it's mostly like this. The trajectory is usually upward. But if you zoom out, you see different balls and all of that. And the beauty of delayed gratification is that when you make money, sometimes you're going to see a spike in income. It doesn't mean you are at that level yet. It's just a spike to show you what's possible. And most of the times when people see that spike, they convince themselves, that I'm actually at that level, and then they begin to adjust their lifestyle. In most cases, I tell people, before you make any major adjustments in your lifestyle, stay on the same level for at least 5 years. Notwithstanding, invest in personal growth. But if you can live in the same house for 5 years, stay there. People are going to tell you, oh, why are you not moving? You're making more, you're doing this and all that. But just keep accumulating liquidity, because that liquidity is going to be really, really important for the next phase of your life when you need to take up opportunities. So the whole idea is that when you see those spikes mostly try to show you what's possible. Most people convince themselves that this is where I am, and they miss it. Because immediately after that spike, there's a downturn you will experience every single time. Abundance doesn't last like scarcity. You experience a steep period.
Scarcity will last 2 years.
I'm telling you. So you experience a steep period, and that steep period is usually a test to see if during the time you had that spike, you were wise. So when that spike happened, then when we're making lots of money, then we still make some good money. But then when we're making like good money, lots of money, then whenever I wanted to send money to my siblings or to the guys working with me, I would always put the reference, abundance never lasts. To always remind them that we are making this money now does not mean this is going to be like this forever. Things can happen, things can change. And it's happened. And we had to go through like a desert period for almost a year. And what happened was that I started seeing some of the soldiers who were working with us started falling. Because when the money was coming, they were just buying stuff. They were just living life and all of that. And delayed gratification is that wisdom, you understanding the season that you are in, that, hey, this is a spike. It's not really going to be consistent. A season is going to come where I'm going to face a steep period, and I have to withhold as much as I can in preparation for that season, because once that steep period is over, the next phase is usually higher than the previous phase. So it can be like this, but then it's usually like this.
Like crypto.
It's an upward trajectory, actually.
The most successful people you've studied, you've met, you've read, what's one common trait that you think they have?
They are curious. Curiosity is really, really important. You know, there's this quote that says curiosity killed the cat, but knowledge brought him back. So every single person...
see the problem. The problem is that we like half quotes.
Right?
For example, I'll come back to this your quote now. For example, when you say jack of all trades, master of none. Do you know that that's not the complete quote? It is jack of all trades, master of none, but it's better than the master of one.
Imagine.
So this quote, I've always thought in my head, this curiosity killed the cat.
Right.
The knowledge brought him back, but I don't know about it.
Right.
Wow.
So if you look at cats are very curious.
Yeah.
They are always looking for any slightest thing. They are there, they are flying. You know, that's why they tell you cats have 9 lives, because it's hard for them to be killed. It's hard for anything to just come and kill a cat. A dog can die out of stupidity and all, but it's hard for cats to die. So they are very curious, and the more curious you are, the more people want to share with you, especially if you're humble and you're curious. And I think most of them understand that they are not so special too, that people cannot actually do without them. So that makes them pretty much humble. And then you have to have a level of delusion. You have to decide that this is what you want out of life. And sometimes what you want out of life, a lot of people around you may not have that thing. So it means that you have to create it. And creating something that does not necessarily exist comes from a lot of delusion. You have to wonder.
You have to be delulu.
Yes, you have to be delusional. You have to wonder. I mean, this former CEO of Amazon, one of the richest guys, Jeff Bezos, would say whenever they want to do a meeting, he doesn't like people coming with a slide, because a slide just groups everybody into what someone else has already prepared. He wants them to come with a board and let them just wonder. So they will just think and think and think and think, and everybody brings an idea, and then before they know it, they come up with something really beautiful. So they are curious, they are humble to learn, to keep learning, and there's a level of delusion, right?
They are curious, they are humble, and they are delulu.
They are delusional. And then finally, of course, they are go-getters. They decide this is what they want and they go for it.
All right. I think this is where we draw the curtain. But I have one final question for you. And the question goes to us. What are you still trying to figure out in your life? And the reason I ask this is because people come on podcasts like this, and when people are watching us now, we've been sharing like amazing stuff here.
Right.
And these people have their lives all figured out. I wish I was in their shoes. I want to be like Jago. But just to show us a little human part of you, right?
Yeah.
What are you trying to figure out right now in your life?
I'm trying to figure out the concept of loyalty. I've always been of the opinion that I don't have to be loyal to anybody. I should only be loyal to a cause. The reason we are probably working together is because there's a cause that brought the both of us. And as long as I'm loyal to that cause, I will not betray that cause. It extends to you as a partner, as a human. Because a lot of times I've come to realize that people try to manipulate people all in the name of loyalty.
Yeah, that's as well.
And people try to manipulate people all in the name of loyalty, especially when it comes to things that has to do with business, ventures, profitability, and all that. And it's often sponsored by greed or whatever motive and all. I'm still trying to figure that out because at different point in time, I've had to break out of certain relationships with former business partners and all that because they demand a certain level of loyalty and they are not willing to give as much. Yeah. And also, when it comes to a couple of things about theology, right? I've been on both sides of theology, and there are a couple of things that, to an extent, do not necessarily sit right with me, right? And I always tell people when I share my opinion that I might be wrong, because admitting that I might be wrong also helps me to keep learning and to keep being open. So, irrespective of whoever is seated in front of me and is sharing a different opinion or what have you, considering the fact that I accept that I might be wrong, I'm always open to learn. Because this is me. I'm always looking for something superior. If I can find something superior, I believe I can make a superior decision and make, get superior results. So I'm always trying to compare what I believe to what can be more superior out there. So that's one human part of me that I don't know enough. I wouldn't say I know so much. Some of my decisions are strong opinions that I loosely hold. They are loosely held. So if I can find something much more superior that can convince me that this thing that I hold dear to is weak, I'm always willing to let go of it to hold on to something stronger.
Opinion loosely.
Yes, loosely.
You know that you're struggling to find love. You didn't add that part.
No, I'm not struggling to find love.
Struggling. I love defining.
I'm not struggling to find
so love is looking for you're struggling.
Contrary to what people think.
You're struggling to.
Contrary to what people think, I'm not, right from when I was secondary school, I've never struggled to find people who are interested in me.
It's not the same thing.
I just know.
Oh, guys, not the same thing.
What do you mean by
which one of the people who are interested in you? So the people that are you interested in them, the people that are interested in you.
And that's the thing now.
So that's where you're struggling.
When it comes
you're struggling. And you need help.
Oh my God. No, I actually don't need help. I just need to decide.
That's help. You need help.
In deciding.
You need help.
No, I just need to decide. I have all the help I need. I just need to decide. So I'm at the point where I'm basically weighing my options. So I'm at that point. I'm not at the point of so it's more like you're doing.
So if you're watching this and you're the option is weighing you. Pull your weight. Pull your weight.
We're in the mall. Primarily, and we are grocery shopping. So
I refuse to be dragged. I refuse to be tagged to anything saying that I don't know what is grocery shopping.
I don't know.
I'm not grocery shopping.
Yeah, so it's grocery shopping like apples and bananas and all. So
thank you very much everyone for staying in this episode. We want us to just before you go, how can people connect with you? How can they learn from you if they want to?
Well, primarily I currently don't have any product, but I am always on Facebook at Jago Emmanuel, on Instagram, Mr. Jago Emmanuel, and on Twitter, Jago Emmanuel. Anywhere you can always connect with me on any of those platforms.
Beautiful. Tell them to subscribe to the channel.
Yes, please. This channel is giving you premium content for free. So please, you have to do
at no cost to you.
Subscribe.
At cost to us.
At cost to us. I mean, it takes a lot running and doing this. So subscribe, click on the subscribe button. See you in the next episode.